Welcome back to Steve Robb Reviews. Today's review, well, we're going to revisit the power probe, going over the bench here. I'm going to share some thoughts on what to do, when to do it, and why not to do it, and all the pitfalls of the power probe, and, well, tools better suited for the job. I like the power probe, but I only use it for one purpose, and I'm going to share that today, and I'm going to show you some features on the power probe that I've never used before, and let me know in the comments below if you've got a Power Probe 3 and whether you use these unique features that are built into it that I've never used yet. So let's get to it right now. Okay, so here's the Power Probe 3. Got the headlights on it. That is fantastic. And the most common selling feature on this is the ability to identify a live wire or a ground. And a lot of people, they like this tone effect. Me, it drives me nuts, but I tell you something, that comes in handy many times. And that little button there, well, it does a lot of more things than just, well, making a noise. So this is a good all-purpose tool that, you know, that I find is good for powering up something. And take that noise off, and you could see 12.6 there, 12.6 on my my DC power supply, and 12.6 on my multimeter. So let's just take a look at this button a little closer up and show some features that maybe you've never seen before that, like I said before, I never use. Okay, so at any time when you have your system hooked up to a battery, if you just press it in the forward position, it will display your voltage, and it will provide up to 8 amps out the tip, and it's got a built-in circuit breaker so that if you happen to short it out, well, it will reset itself. And then of course, if you want to power a ground, it will power a ground, you know, on a circuit. So let's just take a look at the additional features. So if you press it once, you'll see here it's got a negative, and that will record the lowest level of recording. And if we press it again, you'll see a positive, and it will display the highest level of a reading, like a hold feature. And if we go again, and then we've got peak to peak, it'll take the average from the high and the low. And then we got this one here. I got mine set at 50 volts, but this can be changed. And if you like, you can turn that down in 5-volt increments so that you can start off at 5 and work your all the way up to 50 so that it'll only register up to them volts. So right now it's set for a maximum of 50 volts. So another thing I'd like to mention is this tip. Right there. If you touch a positive wire, so if your battery says 12.6 and you try to test a circuit that is only 12 volts, well, you're not going to get this little light to light up or the beeper. So I mean, that's something you got to think about, is that when you have a voltage drop, well, your light's not going to work and the beeper won't work. And of course, you can take this tip off, and what do you put in its place? Well, I'm going to show you what I do. Okay, so in the end there is a 4mm socket. So that means that if you just take your regular multimeter leads, you can plug a regular multimeter lead into this instead of, you know, this big coarse lead here. Just plug your meter leads in here, and that, no problem. That works great. Now my favorite is this one here, and it's got an alligator clip on the end. Now a lot of times, if you want to apply some voltage to something, well, guess what? Do you want to be standing there holding this thing on? A lot of times you need something like this. And what I like about this is I always have two. I always carry these two in my bag. And the great thing about these is they're stackable. So you can take one here and match the other end into here. And then you can carry on with a longer end. And you know, that's terrific like that. Plus, what happens when you have these two? This goes into the power probe like this. You got these two stacked on. Well, now you've got two alligator clips. So I mean, that is a benefit for a lot of people that could use it. And you know, like just regular test leads, whether they have a 90-degree elbow in them or whether they're straight, they all fit the power probe if they're 4mm. And you got a small little one like this. A lot of times you got to probe into a fine connector. Well, guess what? These are 4mm too. And you can just take your alligator clip and just clip it on the end right here. And that comes in so handy. Now I also make up my own little lead, and this is one that I made a long time ago, and this has got a fuse built into the lead. So that, especially if you lend your meter to somebody and they bring it back and your fuse is blown, well, a good idea, use one of these, stick a fuse in here that's less than the meter fuse, and you won't blow any fuses in your meter. So let's go on to the tools that I like to use in conjunction with the power probe, where I think the power probe, well, it's kind of weak sauce. If I want to check any current, well, I'm using a amp clamp. Most of the time, I'm not using my multimeter. I'm using the amp clamp. It's less intrusive. All you have to do, stick it over top of your conductor like this, take a reading, and Bob's your uncle. There's no fooling around with putting this in series. You know, it's a lot more practical. So the idea of this power probe, it's great, but I tell you what, you can make a lot of mechanics a lot of money using one of these and try and diagnose stuff yourself on your vehicle. And all you have to do is just press the positive at the wrong time or press the negative at the wrong time. And well, you might see a smoke show and a trip to the repair shop. So these are not meant for somebody, well, who doesn't understand what they're doing with it, because you can cause a lot of damage too. So in the end, what do I think about the power probe? Well, this is what I think. Well, I think they do great advertisements for the power probe. There's a lot of people on YouTube promoting the power probe, this power probe 3. And overall, well, I only use it to power up a circuit that I'm confident that I know what I'm doing. And besides that, amp clamp, my digital multimeter, and that's pretty much it. But if you're trying to promote this as being a substitute for all them tools and trying to diagnose stuff, well, I tell you, it's not a tool for me, you know, because you got that long cord, it's not very convenient, where a multimeter is very, you know, you can take it anywhere. You're not straddled with a power cord. And, you know, I think, well, they do a great job at getting you to think maybe you should buy one. In my opinion, you can get by without using a power probe. I did for years and years and years. It's just a good, convenient thing. And sometimes it does come in handy. Even that annoying buzzer comes in handy the odd time when you're trying to figure something out and you can't be right there on top of something while you're, you know, working in a separate area to get it to actually, you know, configure, you know, to your needs, and all of a sudden you touch a wire and you hear that beep going off. Well, that's when it comes in handy. But for the rest of the time, nah, I mean, it's a handy rig. I just put it in the back of my truck with my little assortment of cables, and hope that it comes in handy one day. So thanks for joining me here today. Come back again. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see some interesting things that I do every week. Cheers.